Okay. All right. So I'm going to try to get through a couple topics. We'll see how it goes based on time. But I'm going to touch on like keeping your emotions in check, and then hopefully get to talk about like pages for a little bit because, oh no, and now I'm echoing. Am I echoing for you guys? Okay. I think I'm okay now. Yeah. Okay. Um, So it's this is a touchy subject. I feel like I don't want it to come off the wrong way. So that being said, I'm going to try to talk about it using sensitivity, because I know that our emotions are real and we feel things because we care. So I know it has been a struggle for me since the very beginning to not get overly disappointed when something doesn't go the way that I had planned, and then not to get overly excited when I hit a goal that I have. And that's because in this business, um, there are a lot of ups and downs. And the way Beachbody is set up, they like to reward when you hit different achievements more than I think even a typical business, right? I think you're rewarded with acknowledgments on social media. You're rewarded with prizes from your coach. You get Success Club rewards. So you're trying to hit all these goals to get the rewards, which is really cool. It makes it fun, in my opinion, but it also can lead to disappointment when we don't hit those goals. And yes, so I'm gonna get into it a little bit more. I feel like for me, I think what this boils down to is we really care what people think about us. And it's hard to get past that. So I know I'm married to someone who's the complete opposite of me, in that I do care what people think about me, no matter how hard I try to say I don't. I think it's a hurdle that I've gotten over quite a bit over the past year, because in this business, you have to get over it, or you're probably gonna be overly disappointed. So I'm married to someone who's a complete opposite, who could care less what people think about him. And that's probably why he's been successful in his business. So he often keeps me in check. Like, well, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it because you care, about, what she thinks or what he thinks? Or are you doing this for you? So I like that I have someone in my life that keeps me in check like that. And if you can find someone like that, I think that it's awesome, whether that be like a success partner who's the opposite of you. Maybe you don't struggle with this like I do, but if you do, I think you should find someone who can kind of balance you out a bit. I know my husband has been good for that, and Stephanie Marsilio too. She keeps me in check with that a lot. Not that she doesn't struggle with it, but we talk about it. So find someone who can keep you kind of, I don't know, in line with that. But I think the problem is we live in a world where we're taught, culture teaches us like to, make choices based off of your emotions. Really, when if you're going to be successful, you really can't do that. Are y'all frozen? No. Okay. Y'all were just like all perfectly still. I was like, oh no. Okay. So the reason I'm going to touch on this is because I want you all to have longevity in your business, and I want you to find joy in your business. And that can't come based off of what other people think or do or behave. Only you are in control of, of you. Like, just because someone is negative to you doesn't mean that you have to feel that negativity. So I know that for me, a lot of people think, oh, well, you're doing so well with this, so it's easy for you to say that, not to feel upset when someone says no. And I don't share with you all the no's that I get. Maybe I should be a little bit more transparent with you. I hear them all the time. I have a lot of successful points this month, but do you know, I probably heard no to 3 times as many of my yeses this month, like 3 times as many. And some of them were nasty no's too, like nasty, like, you know, oh, why you're requiring Shakeology for this? Like, well, what makes you think that is so great? And like me having to defend that. So, yeah, in the springtime, I was like riddled with anxiety. And I do think that about 50% of that anxiety came from me caring what others were, you know, what others thought about what I was doing with the business, or what, you know, hearing negative things or things not going right. And I really had to kind of back up and backtrack and really analyze what was going on. I think there's other things that compounded the anxiety, but it boiled down to like me feeling inadequate in a lot of areas, or like I couldn't give enough, or that I couldn't keep up with the no's. So in my opinion, here's the thing is like, we're never going to have enough. Like we're never going to have enough time. We're never going to have enough like energy really to do everything that we want to do. We're never going to measure up to like the number one coach. Like it's almost impossible, right? So we have to be okay with what we have to give and accept that. So for me, I'm going to back up and before I get into like the nitty gritty of this, I know that when I feel the no's the most, it's because I have not been revisiting my why and why I'm doing this. And it's because I have not had my nose down in personal development. So like what you're doing right now is personal development. Being on team calls on Team Phoenix is personal development. Getting a good book is personal development. And as soon as I'm slacking on personal development, I take those no's and the negative things that that people will say, or like I had someone this month who I've asked so many times, and she's like, you know, no, I don't see the value in Shakeology, and wasn't not very nice about it. I felt it more this month because I was slacking on personal development because I've been spending my time doing other areas of business too much. We have to be doing our 10 minutes of personal development every day. Like, even if it's just opening a book and reading a few pages, because then our reactions are based more on, they're more based on what they should be based on, I think. So get your nose in personal development. So before I go further, let me go out. We're going to talk about, you know, 3 different ways that when something bad, I'm going to say bad in quotes because it's really not bad to me now when I hear no. It just means that I have to put that person aside for a while and then come back to them. But when something bad happens, you have 3 choices, in my opinion. Number 1, your first one is you can let it define you. So you can take that no or that negative situation and you could start to doubt your abilities as a coach. You can start to think it's something you did or said, or you could start to think, you know, I'm not qualified to do this. Someone else would be better than me. Someone else would have the right answers. Sometimes I doubt that my story isn't influential enough to make me a successful coach, you know, because you hear about these people with these fairy tale stories of, you know, like Lindsay Matway, for example, you know, like totally bankrupt. Like my story, it doesn't have such an impact. Like I wasn't in debt like her. So people aren't gonna, cling to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I think that we could start to doubt that as well. Or that your transformation isn't good enough. I know, some people, weren't overweight when they started their journey. And they're like, well, you know, how am I going to attract people who need to get healthy? Well, we each have our own story. We all have a different story. And it could be that you, just were eating like garbage before, and now you're, changing your kids' lives. Or it could be, that you have an autoimmune disorder, and you can share that. We each have something different in our lives. For me, I did have a lot of weight to lose, but that doesn't mean that maybe I won't reach some of the people who are fitness buffs, which they're out there too. So those are the things that you can start to think, and will start to, get into your brain, and you'll let that define you as a coach. I want to ask you guys, is there any negative situation that you've had that you feel like has started to change the way you define yourself as a coach? Before I move to number 2. Think on it. I'll come back at the end. So you can let it define you. That's number 1. Number 2, you can let it destroy you. When somebody has something negative to say, or you feel like you're not getting those Success Club points, or you haven't signed enough coaches, like what your goals were, you're not getting there yet. And with that, I feel like you can, I'm just going to throw this out there. Like, someone says they can't afford Shakeology, but then you see that they're buying some other system or other product out there that costs more money. I think sometimes, like, we have, we want to almost become defensive, and we'll attack like another product, which for me is like a big no-no. I never will talk negatively about the product that they chose to that person. Maybe like I'll share with you, like, if I'm talking with you guys, like, there are people who will put up a chart comparing all the different protein shakes, or really all different comparison charts, and they'll put it on their social media. And for me, it's like, that's like going on the defense. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't need to do that. We know that what we have is good and it works, and it's because it's a good product that wasn't made to help people lose weight so fast that that it wouldn't be something that they could stick with. So when we hear those negative things, sometimes we want to be defensive, and we want to, jump on the bandwagon to put down a product. So if someone were to say to me, I'm going to throw something out there, Advocare right now. And so I'm not going to do Shakeology. I won't ever say, okay, that, you shouldn't be doing Advocare. You should try Shakeology because Shakeology is better because of this, this, and this. What I will say is, I know Shakeology is good because of these reasons. Maybe you'd want to take a look and compare the two based off of their ingredients. And I almost kind of play dumb about what's in some of the others, even though I feel like I'm pretty well versed now in the different shakes that are out there. I've investigated, but I put it back on them. Like, go ahead and take a look. I would love, I can send you the ingredients. You see what you think, and then have them come back to you. So, just because you hear them say, no, I'm doing this right now, I still think you should provide them with things like ingredients or what they would get with a Beachbody fitness program versus going to the gym, but never put down what they're doing. Don't put down CrossFit. Don't put down or like Advocare products or Isogenics, or you could do that very easily. It's very easy to jump on that bandwagon. This one is touchy. I don't think I've ever seen any of you all do it. So yay Team Fitwell. But using Team Phoenix as like a venting station, I'd rather you not all do that. The group is so big now that I think we need to be sensitive to what we post in there. Like, if you're reaching out to have a valid question answered, that's fine. If you need to vent, I would rather you vent to me than to broadcast it, because here's a big thing that I think, a reason why we want to do this. Your coaches that you've signed under you will follow your lead. So if you're going to like complain there, they're going to complain and they're going to take a situation and see it negatively. Is there going to be problems with customer service with Beachbody? Yep. There's problems almost everywhere. My mom had a problem with Apple last week. Apple. No one has problems with Apple. And really, when you think about it, they have minimum wage people working for them for customer service that they don't, they're doing the best that they can, those people. We're going to have problems with them. But you all can be the difference maker. I had someone who's actually related to someone on this call before she was a coach. One of her family members ordered through me, and their shipment got shipped to the wrong address because they lived kind of in the countryside, but it got caught up at the post office. I wasn't making very much at the time. This was at the beginning of my coaching career, and I chose, because they had such problem, I chose to be the customer service. And I chose to send like a $25 gift card to make up for the problem. Was it like fair for me? No, not really. But I wanted to have a good reputation for taking care of my people. And I knew that, what I was doing was a long-term investment. And she's now signed as a coach under my coach. So like, I'm just saying, yes, it might be, an eighth of what you made that month to do something like that, but it's a write-off, number one. And you are setting the tone, and you are being a reputable source that now they'll say, oh, yeah, I had a problem once with customer service with Beachbody, but my coach is amazing and she took care of me. And it could have been a really awful situation, but I decided to, be the customer service. So if you have a problem like that, I'd rather you talk to me about it one-on-one than to post in the group, because your coaches are watching. Other coaches on the team are watching. It's okay to be frustrated. I think it's okay, but I just want you to use the right avenues for that. Then in the same category of letting it destroy you, I think a lot of times when we're frustrated with customer service, or because we're hearing no, we give up on moving forward, and that roadblock becomes a roadblock. And instead of going around it and moving on, we just give up. And I don't want that for you all. I want this to be long lasting. I want you to see the benefits of this business. So get around it and don't wallow in it, because I do it all the time. I'm getting better and better all the time. But we got to stop. We have to channel our energy and not waste our energy on being frustrated, and move on to the next person, to the next invite. Because if we're not moving on, we're never going to move forward. So back to the personal development before I move on to number 3, what we can do to make positive choices. It's so obvious to me when I haven't been doing my personal development, and my reactions are totally based off of that. And for me, I'm a Christian, and I know that when my personal behavior towards like my husband and my kids is going south, it's because I'm not spending time in the Word. For me, I believe that it's very similar with personal development. When I'm not getting my nose in personal development, my behaviors change. I'm just trying to think of a real life situation outside of Beachbody for me that I totally see the relationship there. When I'm not spending time on my faith walk, my behaviors with my kids and my husband and my mom and my grandma who's in town are all just soured. Like they're not where I should be. So that was the biggest comparison I can make there. Number 3. So when something bad happens, you can either let it define you, let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you, which is so cool, really, right? That we can actually take the negative thing and turn it into a positive. Dave Ramsey, who I love listening to, his book EntreLeadership is amazing. I love it, and I really do think it's shaped how I lead quite a bit. But this quote is like, ooh, ouch. But he says, big goals require big backbones. Wimps need not apply. right? So if you have big goals, we need to strengthen that backbone, right? We need to build it up. It's almost like workouts. When our core isn't strengthened, we're not gonna be able to lose weight. We need to, focus. Shaun T always said, like, strengthen that core, tighten the core. So we need to strengthen that backbone in order to find success. So how do we do that? I think control your response. If you get a negative response from someone, seriously, deep breathe, get it out. Learn some stress relieving techniques. When I was going through anxiety issues, I kid you not, like the best exercises that I did with the person that I was seeing was like breathing exercises and learning to, like, in with the good, out with the bad. And like, I think that's really important that we have those techniques to relieve that stress. Because a lot of times if we don't control our response, we are responding out of emotion is far worse. Number 2 for that would be to learn from the bad things. So in the middle of difficulty, I feel like lies opportunity. That's an Einstein quote, like I remember from high school or something a long time ago. Take note of what the cause of the negative response was. I think it's huge to maybe even jot it down. What caused me to feel like this? And I think if we can write those things down, we can be proactive for the next time when a similar situation comes up, and we'll figure out how to behave. And if you're the one who made the mistake, I think it's important to admit it too, because I think it will relieve stress and people will find, I think they'll trust you more. I just recently had someone, this is the first time I've done this in a long time, that I didn't remind about their Shakeology order coming up or the club order. And I felt horrible because it wasn't someone who was really plugged into a group well. And I just missed her. She was in a group, but she had ordered way before the rest of the group. I missed her, and she's like, and she's older, and she's like, Jen, I got this order. What's going on? I'm like, I screwed up. I am so sorry. What can I do to make it better? Like, I feel bad. She really was like, I only wanted one order. So I bought back her Shakeology. So I have a little bit of extra Shakeology. This one, she's local. But for me, it wasn't worth it. Like, I think it was better for me to admit it and admit that. And it really isn't our responsibility to do that, but I think it's the right thing to do for us to remind the people. And so at the beginning of the month, make sure you write down, I go through and I write down everyone who's on HD and put the date next to their name. And I make sure that I revisit that with them. So I think it was cool that I admitted my mistake, even though sometimes that's hard to do because pride is an issue, right? With some of us. But, and then number 4 is, to emphasize your positive attitude by your actions in words and deeds. So, like, I think putting out that positive vibe in with your coaches, with your customers, just being positive even when they're negative, I think it makes a big difference. And then I think this is a big one, and I think that y'all should maybe do this little activity. And like, words of affirmation is a love language, and I think that we need to do that with ourselves even. So I think, like, saying things like, I am qualified to be a coach, because all of you are. I would not have asked you on the team if you weren't qualified, whether it be that you've become qualified from joining groups and you're in it now and you know what you're doing. All of your stories are awesome. I know all of you now. You all have something to give. So I think affirming yourself and saying, I'm qualified. I have too big of a gift to offer to waste my time on being frustrated, because you all have gifts to offer your people. I think everyone is given gifts, and it might be that you're an encourager, or it might be that you'll push people along, or it might be that I don't know. I think a lot of us are big encouragers on this team. So don't waste your time on being frustrated, but rather, offer your gifts that you have to others. And then the last thing for affirmations is I have the tools and the ability to change lives. You all know that what you have to give, well, that's why we sell it, right? It's because it's good. And you all have what you need. You're given the tools from team trainings. You're given the tools of good products to offer to, people a life-changing situation. So the last quote I'll leave you with is: a positive attitude gives you power over your circumstances instead of your circumstances having power over you. I think that's a good one to end on. So I have like 50 million examples of negative situations I've had to deal with. I wrote them all down on the bottom of my paper. Just because I think, I tend to share my victories, I guess, with you all because I see such potential in this business at this point. Like this is a viable career opportunity if we can push through, if we can stay positive. But that doesn't mean that I don't deal with negative things, because there have been some big ones. Like I have some crazy stories, but I'm not going to share them all with you, but know that they're there. I have names of people who still haven't come around who did some pretty nasty things. Actually, one person who I spent a ton of time encouraging and loving on in clean eating groups, like blasted after she did all sorts of great posts about clean eating, blasted on her Facebook wall how, Shakeology is absolutely a scam and ridiculous. And she hadn't even done a paid challenge. So she hadn't even tried it. So like that was a situation. And I could have chosen to go on I could have been defensive and written something underneath that post because we had a lot of mutual friends who obviously they knew what she was doing. And I just decided to let it go. It wasn't worth it, right? It wasn't worth it. And actually she did apologize a couple months ago because it was so blatantly obvious. So, I mean, I could give you another 50 similar stories. I just have chosen along the way to not waste my time or my energy on situations like that. So I want that for all of you because I care about all of you. And I want this to be something that lasts a long time for you all. So anyone have questions on that? I know that's really not a big question type topic, right? But I thought it's important that we touch on it as we grow too, because I want you all to take that mindset as you start to lead your own teams of coaches, because we're growing. It's crazy. Crazy. So how about questions? I feel like probably a couple of you could have done a better job with that topic than me.
Well, I have a comment.
Yeah.
Just about, I've been in the cosmetology industry for 24 years. I've had to deal, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had to deal with a lot of different people with a lot of different personalities. And now with Beachbody, I just feel like, I don't know where I heard it, but they said, ask somebody and approach people that you think are better than you. And not that I have a low self-esteem, but, you have people in mind that like, ooh, they would never say yes, And so I've done that a couple times and some have said no, some have ignored. One was kind of rude. But I look at it as a challenge. And when I can turn around that conversation and they're like, oh, well, maybe let me know about it or whatever. It makes, even if they say no in the end, like I've controlled that situation. I didn't let it control me. And it's not about like, if they're going to be rude, it's about them, not about you. You're a happy person. You're not going to be rude. Like if someone contacts you and you don't want to be a part of something, you're not going to just be rude. You're nice. You're going to say, I really appreciate it, whatever. I mean, I had somebody that I was trying to contact for coaching, and she was in the sneak peek and then never returned any of my calls or anything. And then she just messaged me about an opportunity to sign up with her for something. I don't even know. And I said, I looked into it. Thank you so much for thinking of me, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I look, it makes me look better. And honestly, when I think like, if it doesn't work out for her, she's going to remember that. If she sees me continuing and being successful, and I hope she does, but if there's that chance that she doesn't succeed in what she's trying to pursue, she's going to remember. So I don't know. I just feel like I challenge.
No, it's empowering too. I think when we get over our fears of caring what people think about us, I think that once you can get through inviting, I think in Christine Dwyer's boot camp that like Megan's done, I haven't done it. I'm too scared. I'm a big wimp. But that she makes you write down 10 people's names that scare the bejeebers out of you to invite to the business. And then she says you have to call them. Call them and invite them. Not just type them up. I think I was one of Megan's that she actually called me. And that's when I finally decided to do it, is when she's like, can we set up a time to chat on the phone? Yeah, I guess she suckered me in that way. But anyways, right. She has you write down the 10 names and think about how powerful or empowered you'd feel after you got through those 10 people. You know what I mean? And for me at this point, I see this as such a strong business opportunity that it doesn't scare me as much to invite people. I've started going through my names that I have. I did write down 10 names. I'm not calling them. That scares me too much, but I'm going to work through all of them. And once I did my first 3, I was like, this isn't that bad, and most people were nice. And it's the quote, like, it's none of our business what someone else thinks about us, right? Who cares? Right? Because especially if you know that your intentions are pure and good and what you're offering is an amazing community of women, really, and amazing products that work. What we're doing is good. So I think it's awesome once we can get beyond that, for sure. Thanks for sharing, Diana. Anyone else?
I'll share. I know we just have a couple of minutes left. But,
well, can I just say one thing? There's actually a way you can just log back into this actual Zoom call. We can log back in if we get cut off. Isn't that crazy? I was like, why do we not know this? I guess like Joey Petrie, who's a local coach here, he uses the same thing to log in. It's the same link every single team call. I was like, Megan, why did you not teach me that? Like, I didn't know it myself. So anyways, go ahead. So if we get cut off, log back in, because I think I could do the like page thing in like 5 minutes, literally.
Okay. This is going to go fast. It just, I thought about this when you asked the question about, has anything happened that is kind of like defining us or making us define ourselves in not so good of a way. And I don't think that I get super like disappointed as much as I get frustrated. So like what's happening a lot lately to me is that people who are interested say that they already have everything they need. So I feel like I'm working really hard because it's not something that comes very naturally to me. So I'm working really hard at trying to build relationships and, it's funny because before this, I was never on Facebook. It wasn't something that I did. So being on Facebook is new for me. As much as I'm on Facebook, it's definitely new. And like reaching out to people and trying to have conversations and all of that is just out of my comfort zone. So I work really hard at it. It's out of my comfort zone. And then the response is, yeah, I already have this, and I already have this workout. I already have 21 Day Fix, and my cousin gave me all of her Shakeology, so I've got plenty of that. And so that just, I feel like I'm just getting more of that than I'm getting even an opportunity to try to work with somebody who doesn't have anything. So just frustration.
What I would say to that is not to give up on those people, because a lot of them are now my coaches. Raise your hand if you were on this group and you already had either Shakeology or a workout and I let you join my group. 1, 2, Amanda, 3.
Raise your hand, Amanda.
So don't give up on them because I feel like I don't know. Some of them turn into like diamond coaches. Like, don't give up on them. Like it may feel like work and no pay, I guess, but like, I don't know. It's an investment in these people who, if you invest in them, they're going to want to invest in you in the future. They're going to buy into you because you're showing that you care about them. And I did care about my people. Can I say I never was like, dang it, Diana, how do you have 3 bags of Shakeology? But it was okay. And she ended up being like my best challenger too. Like ever, like posting queen. And they say your best challengers are turn into your best coaches too, because they thrive in that environment. Like I don't get frustrated with it. I know that's easy for you to say, Jen, but don't, because look at what we have here. And there's more of them too that just aren't on this call.
Yeah. And I do believe that. And so I do also, like when you said, don't get like way too over the top excited and don't get way too over the top, disappointed. And I feel like I can keep it in check. I just, it's just that like, God, like that just, thing. But no, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up.
Yeah. I know you're not. A lot of times it does get like, you think, even this month I had about 6 people who said, oh, I'm going to buy. And then they never did. Mm-hmm. But I know I'm going to get them next month. I'm not going to get them, but like, I know that they'll be ready next month. They just weren't ready this month.
Yeah.
So hang in there. And I know it's hard. It's hard. Your first 6 months as a coach are so hard. But if you can hang in there, I'm just thinking like this month, I don't know. It's just been like going, it just seems more, not that it's easy. It's more natural. Just as kind of starts to, it just feels right. And it doesn't feel like work eventually. I will tell you that if you can hang in there, it's worth it.
No, I believe that. And I think it's because right now I am going back to my lists, and I'm thinking, okay, who do I have left that I can contact? So my pool is still really small, but I do believe that as it grows,
reach out to your pool and ask for referrals from your pool. Yeah. And then if those people say no, ask for referrals from them. And if they say no, do you know anyone else who might be interested in, joining a group where there'd be amazing accountability and encouragement? Mm-hmm. That's where I got my people the first 6 months.
Okay.
Offer incentive for those people who refer people, especially if it's someone that you didn't even know to begin with. Like if you have a friend who you refer, I'll send you a little gift as well as them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I would say probably in my first 6 months, I would say half of the people were referrals of referrals of referrals.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if any of you are referrals of referrals of referrals. Stephanie was kind of out there, right? Down the line. But you were more recent than some. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at all your faces. Lisa, you were.
Yeah, I was. Well, I kind of was.
I invited you and you're like, I don't think I'm ready for that. I'm going to wait till your next 5 day is what you said to me, right? I remember because I invited you to do a PIO challenge pack.
Yeah, I did. Remember I did the P90.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're going to get kicked out. If any of you want to learn, I think I have some real quick note. I could do it in like 5 minutes. If you want to learn about like pages, why don't you join me back? Is that cool? Mm-hmm. All right. Don't feel obligated though. Only if you have questions, because I think I have figured some of this out, but I'll record it too. So I'm going to end this one and jump back on that link.
Okay.
Thanks, girls.